What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. And I thought today we could look at 4 upcoming games coming out in July of 2021. Now originally July shaped up to not be a full month in terms of game releases, or not an interesting month at least, but definitely I've managed to come across some games which are coming out which actually look pretty good, pretty interesting. And that's definitely toward the end of the month, but without any further ado, let's jump right in. And of course we'll do these in, let's say, chronological order as they're coming out. Now the first one is a game by the name of Crowfall, which is coming out on July 6th. This is essentially a MMORPG RTS, so that's very interesting there that you have both of those systems into an MMO. And it's coming out on PC, and it's basically how they've described it is they call it a throne war sim. So the idea is that I mean, this is basically like very similar, especially in its aesthetic, I would say, to something like World of Warcraft, and also because of its extreme PvP focus, very much similar to, for instance, Warcraft PvP. It's by a studio called Artcraft, and as I've said, it's basically got a huge PvP focus. And you have these different realms which essentially exist that you can start out on. You've got your own home realm where you essentially, this is where the RTS aspect of it comes in. You essentially build your own home structures and everything like that. But then you go on these campaigns or, you know, game worlds essentially that have seasons that you play them in. And during those seasons, and I mean, these can last anywhere from a month to 3 months to, I believe, a year. And the point is, this world is procedurally created, and you go through the seasons on this world, and each season brings its own new challenges. And once all 4 seasons are complete, then essentially the world, you know, the campaign comes to an end and the world is destroyed. And your character, of course, remains and is allowed to then go to other worlds. But this is kind of like the hook of the game, right? That you have these campaigns and that you have this character that essentially lives from world to world. And because it's procedurally generated, you have, you know, never the same thing basically that you have to do. Now, it also has a crap load of races, 12 races. These within these 12 races, there's also a mixture of 12 classes. So a huge amount of customizability. And just overall, I would say this just looks super ambitious. And of course, you know, anything that can rival World of Warcraft and sort of like offer the same level of quality, I'm all for. It's always good to have choice, but I'll definitely be checking this out. I do believe if you sign up, if you purchase it now, or you can already start playing it, but I'll definitely wait until the 6th of July before I dive in. But that is Crowfall, and as I said, coming to PC. The next game we can look at is Death's Door, and this is by a small studio called Acid Nerve. This is their first game, and it's essentially an isometric action game with a focus on really like fast-paced combat, which can either be, you know, from a melee variety, sorry, I always get that word wrong, a ranged variety, and also magic, basically skills, right? This is coming out on PC, Xbox, so that's Xbox One X and S. And this is coming out on the 20th of July. Now, you basically, the premise of the game is you play a soul collector, aka a crow, and the assigned soul that you're supposed to collect is basically stolen, and this starts your quest basically trying to capture that. Now, overall, the art style, as I've mentioned, just looks really cool with this. I mean, this has got like an indie game flair to it, but just looks very well produced, very well put together. And as I said, it really seems to be focused on this very fast and frenetic combat system, which uses, you know, melee, ranged, magic, skills, all of those things together. But yeah, overall, it just looks really cool, and I'm excited for it. The next one that we've got is Aux Must Die 3. Now, this is not per se a new release of Aux Must Die, as this Aux Must Die 3 was originally, I think it was time gated to Stadia for, I believe it was a year. So finally the year is up now, and it's actually coming to PC. But it's not just PC, it's PS4, it's Xbox One X and S as well. So basically everything, I guess, is you know, that it can come to at this point in time, except Switch. Now, it's coming out on July 23rd and is by Robot Entertainment, who have been responsible for all of the games in the franchise to thus far. Now, I personally, I'm a huge fan of Aux Must Die, but more specifically Aux Must Die 2. Spent a lot of hours in that game because of the fact that it kind of hit like a lot of the sort of, you know, feelings for me, and that is that you've got the co-op aspect, you've got the building aspect, which is kind of like an RTS, you've got the traps, as I've mentioned, you've got melee and range combat, you've got magic, all of that. So it's all just, you know, one big package together. But what really looks interesting with this one is with Aux Must Die 3, you have these massive sieges or castle sieges with just way more, you know, enemy minions on screen than we've ever seen before in a game like this. So it's really going to look really good, and, you know, trying to build traps to sort of like take care of that, it's going to be interesting. So I'm really excited for this. And yeah, hopefully the Aux Must Die series is kind of like, it's got a bad vibe at the moment right now because of the mobile game that came out. And so it'll be good for them to sort of buy some of that goodwill back, and I hope they can do that. So that's it. Now, the last one of the 4 games that I wanted to look at today is Tribes of Midgard. Now, Tribes of Midgard is coming out on July 27th, and it's by Northfell Studios, which is a small studio, I believe. And it's kind of like I guess like an indie hit or something like that, but just once again coming with a lot of aesthetic, a lot of really cool style. It's essentially a co-op Viking themed survival game. That's basically what it comes down to. So it supports, I mean, you can play this whole game solo, of course, if you want, but it supports up to 10 player co-op, online co-op, of course. And then the point is that it's the gameplay loop is you explore the wilderness, you collect supplies, you know, wood and, you know, rock and whatever, all of that. You bring that back to your base, you craft materials, while you use those materials to actually craft gear, so your weapons and your armor, but you also use it to upgrade your base, because the survival aspect of this game is that you have this tree of Yggdrasil in the middle of your base that is, you know, being attacked by creatures and things like that, and this happens in a day and night cycle, so you kind of have time to like basically prepare for it, and then, you know, at night you get attacked. And the whole sort of premise of the game is you are heading towards Ragnarok, and eventually, and this is, I think, the main appeal of the game, is that you have these massive giants that essentially attack your base. And so these giants, of course, drop the best gear, but you need to be very well prepared to take them on. And as I've mentioned, that can be in a combination of you actually having other players to help you out, or doing it solo by yourself, but being well geared up by all the farming that you've been doing, but also some good defenses that you've put into place. But that's it. Those are the 4 games that I think are looking quite interesting in July 27th. I like the fact that basically we only have 1 sequel in there, and the rest is all like new IP and new kind of things, and definitely some very ambitious, you know, things there. Now, as we know how it unfortunately works, is not all good ideas work, not all good ideas make it through, but I really hope that there's at least 1 or 2 diamonds in the rough with these 4 games, and that we really do enjoy them, and I can enjoy bringing them to you on the channel. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far, and it's just super important to me that you have a fantastic morning, a great afternoon, and a great evening wherever you are. Until next video, fucking cheers.
They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me.